What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincere's here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for September 24th, 2021's Vendor Reset. So let's get right into this to see what we got good for this week. For our first gear items, head over to Camp Hudson. Here the weapons vendor has a SOCOM SCAR L. For our next gear items, head over to the base of operations. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has an operator mask with the talent Tenacious. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 4.50% ballistic shield damage resilience. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the weapons vendor. Here we got a converted USC. And also here we got a compensator. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor, and here we got a first wave vector 45 ACP. Next here we got a tactical SA58 if you like this weapon. Also here we got a black market SA SG12S. Next here we got a tactical M249 Para. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor, and here we have a Cassidy. Next here we have a Pecan if you like this weapon. Also here we got a Historian. Next here we got a military AK-47M. Next here we got a classic RPK-74. Also here we got a tactical mask with the Talon Enduring. Next here we have an operator pack with the Talon Inventive. Next here we have a prototype firearms mod with 266 firearms and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. Also here we have a prototype performance mod with 6.50% Seeker Mine explosion radius. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we have a stamina knee pads blueprint with a gear score of 256. For our next gear items, head over to Camp Clinton. Here the special equipment vendor has a Historian. Next here we have a Model 700. Next here we have a classic RPK-74. Also here we have a tactical mask with the Talent Refreshed. Next here we have some tactical gloves with the Talent Savaged on there. Next here we have a prototype stamina mod with 256 stamina and 1% critical hit chance. Also here we have a prototype performance mod with 2.50% smart cover damage resilience. For our next gear items, we're still at Camp Clinton. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we got a classic RPK-74 blueprint with a gear score of 256. Next here we have a holster blueprint with a gear score of 256. And also here we got a compensator blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, head over to Dante's Run. Here the gear vendor has a prototype stamina mod with 183 stamina and 3% damage to elites. For our next gear items, head over to Wolves Den. Here the weapons vendor has a military MK46. For our next gear items, head over to Autumn's Hope. Here the gear vendor has a Spec Ops mask with the Talent Tenacious on there. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% turret damage. For our next gear items, head over to Madison Stand. Here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod with 4% sticky bomb damage. For our next gear items, head over to The Last Call. Here the weapons vendor has an enhanced AUG A3P. And also here we got a high velocity magazine. For our next gear items, head over to The Ward. Here the gear vendor has an operator pack with the Talent Inventive. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 5.50% first aid self-heal. For our next gear items, head over to West 39th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an operator pack with the Talent Inventive. For our next gear items, head over to West 42nd Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 5% first aid ally heal. For our next gear items, head over to East 64th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype performance mod with 2% post critical hit damage. For our next gear items, head over to East 61st Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a heavy magazine spring. Next here we have a mega rifle suppressor. And also here we got a vertical grip OD green. For our next gear items, head over to East 58th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a tactical mask with the Talent Refreshed. Next here we got a tactical vest with the Talent Reckless. For our next gear items, head over to the Park Ave Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone weapons vendor has a black market AK-74. Next here we have a military M870. And also here we got a first wave M1A. And also here we got an M249B. For our next gear items, head over to East 53rd Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a VX1 scope times 12. For our next gear items, head over to East 42nd Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an MG5. For our next gear items, head over to East 40th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a classic RPK-74. And also here we got a reflex sight. For For our next gear items, head over to East 34th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a custom L86A2. For our next gear items, head over to the 5th Ave checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a Lova C. Also, I mentioned this because I'm here. We have a prototype stamina mod with 253 stamina and 3088 health. And also here we have a VX1 scope times 12. For our next gear items, head over to DZ2 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear vendor has a Spec Ops mask with the talent refreshed on there. Next here we have a Gunslinger vest with the talent rapid. Also here we got a Spec Ops pack with the talent inventive. For our next gear items, head over to DZ3 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapons vendor has a tactical Super 90 SBS. For our next gear items, head over to DZ4 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype performance mod with 5% sticky bomb explosion radius. For our next gear items, head over to DZ5 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has an extended magazine. And also here we got a 5.52 hollow sight. For our next gear items, head over to DZ8 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear vendor has a Spec Ops armor with the talent vigorous. Next here we got a Spec Ops pack with the talent inventive. For our next gear items, head over to DZ9 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has a heavy magazine spring. And also here we got a pro red dot sight. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division vendor reset video for September 24th, 2021's vendor reset. Hope everybody tuned into it, found them something that they needed. Smash on that sub and like button, y'all. Appreciate that support, and I will see y'all with the next one. Take care, peace.